you know, I
I'd love to use to get a Jeep, but
yes,
Get a used one that's a couple of years old.
I don't like used cars.
Okay.
I had an Isuzu Rodeo that was a used car, and I got it home and realized it had a cracked head, and I'll never buy a used one again.
Well, it
ever.
was a Suzu
you know,
Rodeo. There you go.
I loved it though. Tinted. It was
it's something I wanted to want to say
Spinners.
because I mean I was going to try to call in and I realized that I wouldn't be able to make mention talking about the IRS scenario and how slow they move
You think I'm right, right?
and well, you know. K-Dog is always right. Remember that.
You.
But no, just the overall like you said, how slow they was moving. Over the course of the past few years, I've literally I've been fighting with the IRS. You know, I had the identity theft, and that was filed through online to try to identify myself, and then they say, well, you needed more information, and they said you need to call in. Well, in 2020, the IRS was shut down, so I couldn't call in. You know, so it's like, who am I supposed to call to try to identify myself to try to get the money that I'm owed? So over the course of the past 3 years, I've just between 2019, 2020, and 2021, I literally just was got everything settled last month. It took 3 years of me fighting to try to get in touch with somebody
I'm
on the
glad that
IRS.
you were able to.
Yeah.
And you know, whereas there's the case of my daughter right now who worked as a bartender for a place I won't make a mention of. Even though she was on the books, they never had her on the books. She was fighting with the IRS for many years. She showed them, hey, I was on the books. The company that she worked for admitted that yes, they messed up, they screwed up.
Yeah.
But it's been over 5 years. She lost out on about a $7,000 tax return.
Yeah.
Because she only had 3 years to get it.
It is. I'm sure that, and rightfully so, everybody can disagree with me on this, but I have, as I've grown older, I have become more attuned to the idea of personal accountability and responsibility, in the sense that, and I'm not saying that people aren't responsible for their own actions, right? But it's, in my case, you know, having in-laws, well, they hadn't filed for 8 years, and you know, oh my God, we're not going to get back all that money from those earlier years, you know, and it's just kind of like, this is why it pays to stay on top of things and try to be as proactive. Of course, there's always circumstances, but if you try to stay on top of those things, at least you have a better shot,
right?
You know,
right.
I think that's all. Yeah.
Well,
Debbie?
I'm sorry.
You could be my kid's dad who purposely does not file his taxes because over his dead
15
body will
seconds.
child support take that money and give it to us.
Oh, I know a lot of people that are like that. Yeah.
Mhm. He
All right,
works under the
Outlaw
table.
Radio
Right.
coming back on the AM side next.
Good evening. My name's Wayne. Some of you may have seen me before. I've been kicking around Hollywood a long time.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
Because I think it's the best thing of its kind that's come along. And I hope you'll agree with me. It's honest, it's adult, it's realistic.
All right, Outlaw Radio. Thanks for checking out the show.
I always hear that, right? The bullet ricocheting. It makes me think of that. Remember the movie Young Guns?
Yes, I have seen that one.
Mhm.
Where he's like, yoo-hoo, I'll make you famous. It's just, I don't know why. It just,
Yoo-hoo. Yeah, make you famous.
Yep.
All right, Paul, Tom, Debbie, Trojo, Boss Baby, and DJ D working behind the scenes. I am, of course, K-Dog. So really quickly before we get into it, because I think that topic's going to take a lot of time, I do just want to say that are you as surprised as I am that Jamie Herrera Butler is toast?
yeah.
Yeah.
In Washington State, I'm surprised, because they're just what we've seen happen in this state, man. This is not a strong Trump state, and she was entrenched. She was the established Republican.
Yep.
Culp got his butt kicked.
Yeah,
he did. He got smacked. And to see Joe Kent pull out this victory. And it's not like it's not like he's the rep now. Now he just gets to go on to the main election.
He'll be the rep, though.
I agree. I believe. I think he will. But
She had 6 years, right?
Jamie Herrera JHB.
Yeah, I think she was in for 6 years.
I think
and
you're
she
right.
actually conceded to him today.
Yeah. He. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I was. I'm elated about it. I am. I felt that there were 10 Republicans that voted to impeach him. And I was thrilled that there were some repercussions for that. And the reason I say that is because when you look at the Republicans who voted against or voted to impeach him, they all did it for their own reasons. None of them did it because they thought it was the right thing to do.
Right.
They did it because they were playing politics. And again, it's a whole nother topic.
If
I
you're
guess
right,
it's not like
she miscalculated like hell.
yes, she did.
Mm-hmm.
If you're right, if you think she did it purely over politics,
I believe that she did. Yeah.
you don't think any of them voted based on moral grounds? I mean, because Heidi Hot Sauce in the chat room is very vocal about she's not a Trump supporter, and that she'd prefer he didn't run. You don't think?
Yes, I'm there with her.
But you don't think there's a group of Republicans back at impeachment days that were just like, we've had enough. This is nonsense. The accusations are valid. Let's get Mike Pence in there. Let's clean house a little bit. You don't think any of it was done for real reasons? It was all political?
I think that there were some people that felt that way, but you live in such a politically divided country. Like, to me, you got to look at the whole big picture. And if I'm a Republican and I'm sitting in Congress, I might be sitting there like, God, I hate this guy, but he represents my party. He represents 50% of America. And as much as I dislike him because he has a very abrasive personality, and he clearly doesn't have a filter that tells him what he should and shouldn't say, I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like him. But at the same time, I would say, but his policies are working.
Mm-hmm.
His foreign policy is working. Nobody's screwing with us as a country right now because they think he's a little too, a little too gruff, right? To me, you got to look at that big picture. That's why Liz Cheney never liked him and made no secret of it. Why? Because he knocked the snot out of Jeb Bush, right? And he made no secret about calling out the neocons during the election and about how the war in Iraq and looking for weapons of mass destruction was a lie that was told to the American people. Well, that was her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She had every reason to hate him, and so did a few of the others. And even Mitch McConnell does not get along with Donald Trump. He's an establishment Republican, right? And Trump has had no problem calling the establishment people on the carpet. When I see the Republicans that don't like him, it's because they're neocons, they're establishment people. And again, I don't want to mix words. The dude is a jackass frequently, too frequently for my tastes.
Yep.
But I didn't need my drill sergeant to be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I needed him to turn me into a soldier, irrespective of what I thought of him. That's how I looked at Trump.
Yeah. And by the way, so Heidi Hot Sauce says in the chat that Joe Kent's going to lose to Marie, whatever,
Glusenkamp Perez.
So the numbers don't seem to support that.
No, the numbers don't support that at all. So she had 31% of the vote on primary night. And then another Democrat, Davy Ray, had 2% of the vote. Everybody else was either independent or Republican. If you take the three Republicans, which was Joe Kent with 22%, Jamie Herrera Butler with 22%. So let's say that's 45 because of the quarters, right? So 45%. And then you add in, who's that?
True.
Okay. And then you add in Heidi St. John, who was another 16%. You're now up to 61% in just those three candidates. I don't think any Republicans are going to jump across the fence to vote for Marie. You might get more voters out, but that's a predominantly red district.
That's a huge, and if you spent much time down there, my wife is from down there. My daughter's real dad is down there and stuff. So we go down there frequently. That is a deeply red district down there.
I do believe that some of the people that voted for Jamie will split off and vote for Maria.
I don't think you're incorrect in that assessment. I think that's a legitimate position to take. And they'll do it out of spite because he's a Trump guy.
Yeah. But you're still looking at 11 or 12 point swing. Yeah. I think that's going to be a lot to overcome.
Yeah, because I think that even though those people that are pissed, And I think you are correct in that assessment that they're gonna say, I ain't vote for Kent. He was a Trump guy. He's an I love this new phrase, by the way, that they've come up with, everybody. Election denier.
Yep.
Listen, sorry. Kevin is not an election denier. I am not an election denier. What we said was we were on air broadcasting on election night and we saw abnormalities. We saw things that made us have questions.
That didn't make sense.
The issue isn't whether or not we sit here and still say Joe Biden is or is not president. The issue is that the powers that be refused to take a look at the issues that we all saw.
Yep.
That's our issue. Our issue is election integrity. And if that makes us election deniers, now you're not healing the country. You're intentionally continuing to drive that wedge. Adjudicate the questions people have. If we're all watching people counting votes in Atlanta, Georgia, and we see them send everybody home and then 4 people stay and pull votes out from underneath tables and keep counting them, we have rightful questions that deserve to be answered.
Yep.
We're not saying they were doing something illegal, but that's on camera and we deserve to be able to have answers to it. So it is not helpful to the nation or anybody to have people in positions of power referring to people like us that have questions as election deniers, because that's not what we're doing.
Yep.
But okay, so I digress though. Because I think the thing is that when you listen to Joe Kent, and I would still love to be able to interview him. It's unfortunate he had to cancel on us.
I'll reach out again.
I think he's incredibly well-spoken. I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders. I love his resume. I really do. I feel like he's going to be like a Josh Hawley type. He's going to be like a Matt Gaetz type. We need more of that. We need those people who are not afraid to put themselves out there in the limelight and speak their truth and be heard. Not the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, because those are the people who just can't control their impulses, right? Lack of impulse control, kind of like Donald Trump. Lack of impulse control, right? But the people who will strongly and emphatically talk about the issues that are there. And if you know I would rather know where a politician stands on an issue and know that I don't agree with them. It's one of the things I like about the former senator from Hawaii. And now, why does her name
Tulsi
escape me?
Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I like her so much, because again, I already go into it knowing I don't agree with her on a lot of issues. In fact, literally about half of her issues I don't agree with her. But if I know where she stands, then we can have an honest debate about it.
All right, so let's segue then. Let's segue into what's happened. So a couple things that developed with Trump. So obviously we have the warrant that was served at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. Today he was before he was being deposed in New York City on a separate lawsuit.
Correct.
And basically pleaded the fifth on everything.
Yes.
And then so he has 3 different legal issues going, right? He has the January 6th insurrection. January 6th insurrection, the legal challenges in New York City in regards to the Trump Foundation. What is it called?
I don't know. It's the Northern District of New York.
No, but I mean his group, his election group or whatever. And then the warrant that was served in Mar-a-Lago was actually about documents. When I heard he got served
about the Presidential Records Act.
I thought, well, they're serving the warrant because of January 6th and the investigation.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people.
Nope. They're basically saying that he had classified documents in his possession.
So there is more to this when you continue to dig. The raid on his home, Mar-a-Lago, the warrant was signed by a judge by the name of Reinhold. Probably doesn't rate as a bell to anybody. That judge had just previously recused himself from Donald Trump's lawsuit against Hillary Clinton. Just recused himself. And then and there's only certain reasons a judge can recuse themselves. So he recused himself from that case, then turned around and signed this warrant. Now, I am a strong believer in our system of laws. I believe we have a lot of checks and balances in places. However, I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that it isn't still flawed, because we still see a lot of issues. A lot of people are pointing fingers at Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI. I'm not pointing fingers at Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI. This was a man who was unanimously voted into the position, is a lifelong Republican, never showed any animus towards Donald Trump at all when he was from the time he was appointed in 2017. And he was whatever he was presented with. He probably was in a position where he had to say, okay. Now, the issue becomes it's the Presidential Records Act. That's exactly what Hillary Clinton got into trouble for. 30,000 emails is all about that Records Act. Records that have to be kept in order for posterity and history and all these other things. The other part of that is that they're saying, well, he had some classified documents. In digging really deep, this is an issue that's been going on for about 6 months. Okay? The problem is that Donald Trump was the ultimate arbiter. He got to decide what was classified at what level and what wasn't. So the argument that's been going back and forth has been, are these documents that he has classified or not? He says he declassified them all. But apparently whatever paperwork goes along with that has not worked its way through the bureaucratic pipeline or was missed or there were mistakes that were made. So he's going, I had all the stuff. I had every right to have the stuff. I declassified it all. And he's been refusing to return it. Now, just about 2 months ago, he gave them permission to come into his home to look at all the documents. They'd already been in us. How they know that he had them. So I find it very strange that this warrant and everything was served in the way that it was while he wasn't there. And they did this in a way, to me, that spoke to maximum effect, right? You got the January 6th. I can't even call that a trial because it's not.
No.
It's a political pot shop. That's all it is. Because if that was a real hearing, you would have both sides presenting evidence and cross-examining each other, and that's not happening at all. The whole thing is a dog and pony show for one group of people, the anti-Trump people. I think, this is just my gut instinct, okay? Because never before in history has warrants been issued for people that were for former presidents or first ladies or anybody else. Never have they sent in the FBI with warrants to collect stuff that the Presidential Records Act was supposed to have maintained, okay? And it's happened every single time a president has left the White House. Every time. Every single president has had a debate over what they're supposed to have and not have. Okay. I mean, the Clintons in fine China, for God's sakes. And so what happens is you have a period of negotiations and they negotiate. Well, I'll give you this, but I'm not going to give you this. I'll give you this, or I'm not going to give you that. And they always work it all out. Well, why all of a sudden this time do you need to raid the former president's house? Because what it looks like a law enforcement agency being used to score political points against a former president and the likely front runner against your current president.
Also happened to be on the day that they were supposed to announce the Hunter Biden stuff. They were supposed to be the same day, one day. Monday was the day that they were supposed to serve Hunter Biden with either a subpoena or charges and stuff like that. And it kind of just got swept under the rug.
Well, I would say that whoever was parsing out that information was not telling the truth. And the reason I say that is because that'd be a huge news story. So it never happened. So I would have to say that it never happened. So whoever was putting out and listen, right now we're seeing a lot of conspiracy theory stuff floated, right? And it is, I would suggest that it's impossible, even for people like us that do deep research into this stuff, to really figure out what's true and what isn't. Because I can go, I had to dig through 14 different sources to figure out that information about Judge Reinhold, all because I saw it from one lady that posted a video, which I posted in our chat room after I had vetted it, because I was like, that can't be true. But even though it's true, it doesn't mean that it means anything.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It may just be a coincidence. Now, if there's one thing I've learned about Donald Trump, coincidences don't really happen.
Can I read
No.
a story?
Yeah.
You'll find this interesting, Paul. This was back from 2020, November 27th of 2020, right after the election. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because it gets into some crap and accusations and stuff. But here's what it says. When David Priest was a CIA officer, he traveled to Houston, he recalls, to brief former President George H.W. Bush on classified developments in the Middle East. It was part of a long tradition of former presidents being consulted about and granted access to some of the nation's secrets. Priest and other foreign intelligence officials say Joe Biden would be wise not to let that tradition continue in the case of Donald Trump. And then it goes on and says a whole bunch of stuff. But I want to read. Here we go. Presidents, however, are not investigated and polygraphed for security clearances as all other government officials are. By virtue of being elected, they assume control over the nation's secret intelligence and are allowed by law to disclose any of it at any time to anyone.
Correct.
Former presidents aren't subject to security clearance investigations either. They're provided access to secrets as a courtesy with the permission of the current president. Typically, former presidents are given briefings before they travel overseas or in connection with an issue about which the current president wishes to consult them.
Mm-hmm.
So now, again, this is information that came out right after the election. But I want to stress one thing. By virtue of being elected, they assume control over all the nation's secret intelligence and are allowed by law to disclose any of it at any time to anyone.
And that's the way it should be.
Well, I don't know if it should be. I don't know if I want a former president. I'm not.
No.
Trump.
Once they're no longer like Trump can't do it now. Once he leaves office, he can't declassify anything. But while he was there and in possession of all those documents, it was up to him to decide what level of classification each document got. So if he declassified it all, right, and he gave all the paperwork and he filled it all out, gave it to his attorneys, right, and his attorneys are, slowly going through it, and that's what I have learned appears to be a major portion of this issue. Having said that, I believe that our current administration, who are suffering the lowest polling in history, who is consistently being talked about behind his back about somebody that they don't want running for office. The Democrats do not want him running again. He's in bad shape.
Yep.
And you're looking at Donald Trump, who's dangling, I'm going to run again. I'm going to kick his ass. What is it that the swamp in D.C. does not like about Donald Trump? You guys know what it is that the
he's
reason
not beholden to any of them.
He's not at all, and he's made it very clear that they are the enemy of the American people because their bureaucratic swamp. They will do anything to keep control and power. So he has slowly, or while he was president, was slowly learning the ropes and trying to take some of that power away. Now, that was limited to a great extent because he was constantly under an investigation for everything under the sun, including colluding with Russia. Now, he's in a position where he has said if he runs again and wins, he's already talked about the departments that he's going to eliminate and the cutbacks that he's going to make. The Washington, D.C. bureaucrats are scared to death, I think, of him running again because they're seeing how poorly Biden is doing, and they're all going, he will run away with an election if he runs again. We have to stop him now. And I think that all of this that we are seeing play out is part of their attempt to prevent him from running for president again. They're like, it doesn't matter who, can't be him.
Heidi says you're giving Trump too much credit.
Heidi, I've never met you in person. You might be a guy named Robert.
I think aren't his hands tied on eliminating or reducing departments because they're handled by Congress and Congress controls the.
So I wish I knew the answer to that.
I mean,
I think it's a fair. I'm just going off of what he says he wants to do.
People in his cabinet he has authority over because they work at the president's discretion. But like the IRS, for example, or the Department of Education,
there are things he can do to limit the control and power and hiring ability and other things. I don't know. Is that something in your constitutional studies that you dug into? I don't know how much actual. His job is supposed to be to manage the federal government. It would seem to me if his job is to manage the federal government, even with the separation of powers, he would still have some ability to axe certain departments and cut back in certain areas.
I want you to think about this. Donald Trump gets elected again. he will use executive orders out the backside.
And I can't say that I blame him.
But I'm just saying he will use executive orders out the backside because he has no recourse. He cannot legally run again in 4 years.
Right.
So he doesn't have to worry about what he worry about the first time.
Right.
How's this going to play over when I run for re-election? He ain't going to run for re-election.
Yep.
You think he was bad on Twitter before? You just you
no,
I totally agree. An executive order making it that Twitter can't ban him.
Right. This is very scary to me. It's scary to me what happened at Mar-a-Lago. It's scary to me with this raid because it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, quacks like a duck, right? The Presidential Records Act, really?
Yeah.
They broke into his safe. Like, when we are to the point now where we are unleashing federal agencies against politicians that are going to run against you in office, and there's no way, nobody in the world should believe that President Biden's office had no idea they were about to raid the former president. No way. Absolute fabrication on their part. You knew that they knew. Something like that goes all the way up the chain of command, and everybody knows.
I think they weren't allowed to do it without his permission.
I don't.
It's one of the articles that I read that
said
they had to have Biden's permission to go forward.
I believe it, and I don't know for sure, but I would believe that.
And vet that. But
and Nancy Pelosi even made a comment. Oh, I heard rumblings. I mean, you heard rumblings. You didn't hear rumblings through the vodka glass. Like, what did you?
No, she heard it because she was in the room when they told Biden because she had her hand up his butt, making his mouth move. Trey says he'll lose if he runs. The election will be all about him. History proves that the candidate that's talked about the most loses. That is not true because Obama was talked about far more than McCain or Romney. So, the other thing is, if Biden's approval ratings stay in the neighborhood where they are now, literally a rock could beat him.
Yeah, anybody that I think anybody the Republicans put up would beat him. And I've gone on record. I will do it again. If Donald Trump was sitting here in a room with me right now, I would say, sir, as much as I respected your policies and everything that you did, you have to acknowledge that you're a divisive figure. And this country, the issues that it has right now, you need to coach somebody, pick somebody, make them your protege, but don't run. Yeah. It can't be you.
He wouldn't do that.
Well, no, I'm not talking about whether he would or wouldn't. I'm just saying I don't want him to run. If he does, I'm going to vote for him because I don't want 4 more years of whoever Biden allows to run in his place.
Sean said DeSantis is going to beat him in the primaries. Heidi says, let's hope DeSantis runs.
Will never run against him in the primaries.
That's what I was just about to say. And listen, I think if you're DeSantis, you're smart, right? Because you know that if you did not run against him, you're the vice presidential candidate, and then you can run right after him in 4 years.
DeSantis has an amazing record. His resume is
he's still a buffoon.
I haven't. You were going to send me a clip so that I could have send me that clip because maybe that'll change my opinion of him. But I'm not going to listen. I don't know any politician that hasn't done or said stupid stuff.
Barack Obama.
We sit here.
I couldn't get it out without laughing.
He could have been my son.
Oh, hold on.
I think the cop was racist. I don't know. There was all kinds of stuff, dude. Yeah. Come on, Fast and
the
Furious.
My Son
really?
Comment. The Fast and Furious was really bad. The My Son thing, I don't think was that bad.
I think people just took it as. I don't believe that he had racial overtones. I don't think the man's racist at all. But
I don't think he did either.
But I think that it was the things and the way that he chose to say them. It still surprises me that such a large percentage of the country felt that he did more to divide the country racially. I don't think he did anything to hurt it or anything else. I just think that he had a great opportunity to really work on healing along racial divides, and he didn't take advantage of it.
I think people think that he made it worse because he drew attention to it.
I think
indirectly or directly.
I think it was his wife more than him. She had made very many divisive comments, and I think she led to it more than
that
he
could
did.
Be too. I know that the one comment I heard that she made heard her say that really upset a lot of people was her comment about for once I finally feel proud of my country or something like that.
Yeah,
that was one of those comments where you're like,
oh, really? Nice job,
yeah.
Michelle. Okay, when we come back, I'm going to tell you what the DOJ can do to restore my faith in the warrant at Trump's office, at Trump's place in Mar-a-Lago. So stick around, Outlaw Radio. We're back after this.
This is the part where I tell you how wrong you are?
Probably.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
Hello, all you Facebook friends and family. This is your boy Trojo here while Paul is messing with someone's phone.
Sorry that you can't see him. He's below the counter.
Oh, you know what? The shortest person in the room does not have the right to make short jokes to the short person that's in the room. All right?
Apparently, I do.
Keep talking, guys.
So,
Yeah.
I walked into a bar today.
Did it hurt?
I should have opened my eyes.
Say, really? Did
Come
you
on,
actually go to a bar?
Let's ask the comedian to give us some jokes.
Yeah, for real, Well,
I got nothing right now.
What?
You got put on the spot and you don't have anything.
I got nothing.
Boo, yes.
I will say this
will
while we do have a break and we just rambling on about some. I hate to say that I was right, but I'm gonna take a Kevin approach on this one. Yeah, I was right.
You were right.
I
What
was
were you
right
right about?
I was right.
You got to tell us what you were right about.
Oh yeah, I'm about to. I was right. I was right. Colin Kaepernick is in the NFL again.
He's what?
He signed a 1-year contract with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh Lord!
That was
He
the
did not.
solution to
No.
Baker Mayfield leaving? Or
I saw someone post that up on Facebook.
No, I just wanted to see if y'all.
A few days ago, and I was. A lot of people were like, "Oh, good Lord, no."
But just the look on y'all faces right now. I knew I had you. I knew I had you.
I fucking hate you guys. Why can't I go to the fucking bathroom and you guys leave my shit alone?
Oh goodness, ladies and gentlemen, on Facebook, you could see this bickering and arguing, but I had to make sure they weren't cussing on AM, so I muted everybody.
Yeah, he really did. The
muted
mics,
it.
everything went dead real quick.
We're still on Facebook.
Yes, we're on Facebook.
Coming back,
Fuck all of you.
10 seconds.
Every last one of you.
You told me I could mess.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Outlaw Radio. The comments on my Facebook page about my hemorrhoids was fake news. So listen, before the break.
Brought to you by Fake News Whiskey.
I hope
Right,
somebody
right.
screenshotted that.
Nope, I didn't. You probably did. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
There's one thing the DOJ can do that'd make me feel better about the raid at Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
Serve a warrant on Hunter Biden.
Yep.
The accusations about Hunter Biden have been going on for years. Okay, the accusations against Trump doesn't sound like we don't know how long they've been going on because they haven't been public, but nowhere near as long as Hunter Biden, right? So if the DOJ is fully committed to impartial investigations, and they're really doing this about getting truth and following the law and prosecuting people that need to be prosecuted and all of that, holding people accountable, then they need to serve a warrant on Hunter Biden tomorrow. If they do that, I would believe that the Mar-a-Lago had some credence. Because that would tell me they're independent.
I'm going to give you a lot of props on that, actually. Totally not the direction I thought you were going. I think you raised an incredibly valid point. Because, again, I heard the point being made of all places on CNN where they were talking about the raid on Trump's home. And the commentator made the comment. He goes, the FBI has had Hunter Biden's laptop for 3 years. The story, we were all told, quote unquote, that it was a Russian disinformation campaign, even though they've had the laptop, they've got all the data in it, and they know that he was selling access to his dad, even as vice president, and failing to register as a foreign agent. He was admitting to crimes, multiple crimes. Whatever this issue is with Trump and them going to get some documents, Why on God's green earth would you be going after a former president for documents, just documents that you want back that he has, versus a guy that's on the street for your sitting president who has sold access to him? What's the greater threat?
Right.
And so you're right.
Yeah, I agree with you. And here's the deal. Biden probably hates Trump. But I guarantee you that Biden loves his son more.
Mm-hmm.
So if they filed charges against Biden's son, or sorry, if they served a warrant against Biden's son, then that would tell me Biden's out of the equation.
Right.
That the DOJ's acting independently, as they should be, by the way.
Yeah, they should be. And that's a fair point. And, I'm having a hard time on the Hunter Biden story, not understanding why, since the information is there on the laptop. Biden made it very clear. I have never had conversations with my son or meetings with my son and his business partners about his business.
Or sexual relations with that woman.
He made that very clear. He's never done. Well, they know because of the laptop that that's not true. In fact, while Biden was in the White House, he took meetings in the White House with the Chinese business people, and he made close to the family made close to $50 million off of these quote unquote meetings. Now, if that's not selling freaking access, I don't know what is. And that whole thing with Biden going to Ukraine and telling them to fire that prosecutor, that prosecutor, and that he did, same prosecutor that was looking into Burisma and Hunter Biden. So Joe Biden went there and threatened to withhold financial aid if they didn't do what he said, which was to get rid of the prosecutor that was going after his son. There's so much there that's truly criminal. And I'm not saying Trump is innocent, but I'm just saying you got one sitting in the White House right now. That should be much more important to you.
Which brings me to my point. He's sitting in the White House right now. So what would it matter if they were to charge Hunter Biden right now anyway, knowing that his dad is sitting in the and sitting in the White House? And you probably know where I'm going with this, but
I don't want to assume.
But since his dad is sitting in the White House, and there's probably no chance that Biden is going to win the re-election, if they charge Hunter, don't you think he's just going to pardon him from everything?
Great point.
Right before he get kicked out.
Great point. Here's what I would say though: if you are truly an unbiased member of the FBI, CIA, any of the alphabet agencies, and your concern is law and order in this country, then you have to be asking yourself, I've got this guy who's selling access to his dad with foreign powers that are our enemies right now, right? Do I just let this go and let it skate? We've been on the doorstep of war with China for the last 2 weeks.
Okay, but wouldn't it make more sense that if you're going to charge Hunter, why not charge him after his dad is out of office?
Because the threat is now. That's my only point. I'm just saying right now is the threat.
May be now, but they could still be carrying out the investigation, even though you have enough to charge him right now. But you cannot nail his ass right now with his dad sitting in office, because I know this: if I got the power to pardon my kid, it's a done deal.
But here's why you don't wait. You don't wait because then it appears political. Then it appears to be retribution. You know what I mean? If they waited and then Trump got in office in 2024 and then in early 2025 they filed charges against Hunter Biden, it looks nothing more than political, revenge.
I wouldn't want to be in that family, because the stuff that's come out on that laptop is that Hunter and Jill they can't stand each other. And I think it's pretty obvious why. She has control over Joe Biden, over the president, in a lot of ways, including medications and other things.
And she provides him peanut praline ice cream.
Well, and Hunter Biden is clearly a threat to Daddy's political career. Clearly, a monumental threat. So, at least on the outside looking in, it's pretty obvious.
Can I read you a story really quick from CNN? I know how much you love CNN. But I think this is
they've got a new head over there, so I give them the benefit of the doubt. Times are changing.
I'm just going to read this. This is off of CNN. Top Republicans who have spent months trying to dissuade, Trojo, that means to talk out of, Donald Trump from announcing another presidential campaign before the midterms are coming around to the idea after an unprecedented search of former president's Mar-a-Lago property by federal investigators on Monday lit up the GOP base. Trump has received a fresh wave of encouragement to jumpstart his next presidential campaign in the 24 hours since his primary residence became the target of the FBI search warrant, several sources familiar with the matter told CNN. The former president, who was widely expected to run again, had previously eyed Labor Day as his target launch date, but is now being advised to accelerate his timeline to capitalize on what Republicans have described as an extraordinary overreach and political persecution by the Justice Department. And I'm going to read this. This is from Michael Caputo, a longtime Trump confidant who had previously urged the president to wait until after the midterms. Here's what he said. My advice that we should wait until after the midterms was based on a rather standard landscape. The Justice Department set off a nuclear bomb on that landscape yesterday.
Yeah.
This is no longer a business as usual campaign, not even close.
I am a firm believer. I think I said this to you on the phone the other day, Kevin. I was in the camp that I thought maybe that Trump's reelection plans were wavering because of the January 6th committee and the hearings and everything else. And the different lawsuits. I felt that if there was a time for him to gracefully bow out, that time was now, and that he may actually not run. But I think what the Justice Department did by raiding his home was just gave him his remember the Alamo moment. Now he gets to go out there and literally play the martyr. Look what they did to me.
Oh, they're lining the streets.
Yep.
Outside of his Mar-a-Lago home.
I heard that there were going to be some protests, or I'm not like against him.
They're supportive rallies outside of Mar-a-Lago, and that people are just. I mean, it's kind of insane. Yeah. Like, I didn't want to admit that there was like this Trumpian like following, but it really has become like a religious following of people that are just
unfortunately
way out there.
It was my biggest criticism of President Obama was that people followed him with religious fervor. And I always felt like the most dangerous thing ever was people blindly following a politician in a religious sense. And now, I mean, I get that feeling that I was a Trump supporter. Absolutely. I think as far as anybody here in this radio station, I was the first one to say I wouldn't count him out, and I was going to support him because I liked the idea of a non-establishment guy coming in and trying to clean up the bureaucracy. I didn't count on his mouth, but I think right now has been made a much more dangerous and precarious time for this country because we've seen our adversaries pushing the limits, pushing our boundaries, right? Russia, Iran, North Korea, China, because I think that they all realize that Joe Biden is a feckless buffoon and weak.
You want to see the war in Ukraine come to a screeching halt? To have Trump announce.
That's a fair point.
You think I'm joking. Putin does not want to screw with Trump. That's why he did not do anything for 4 years that Trump was in office. And if Putin knows that Trump is running and Putin sees the same numbers that we see, Putin will start to scale down. So he's done in Ukraine by the time Trump takes office. Or he'll ratchet it up.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it.
But he'll be done by the time Trump takes office.
Did you guys hear the disconcerting news about the volunteer military force that is preparing to assist the Russians?
Oh, the North Koreans?
The North Koreans. Yeah. They have, quote, and I quote, 100,000 volunteers ready to go.
Yeah. Volunteer or get shot.
I was talking to Hunter. Yeah, I was talking to Hunter about this. And I'm like, what could possibly go wrong? Right? Because and he brought up a really good point. He goes, then we can all watch how bad 100,000 North Koreans get the snot kicked out of them. And, he's like, they'd be all on, and just like that, 100,000 North Koreans are dead.
Yeah. Well, listen, don't the Russians can only see them as cannon fodder, right?
I would say so.
Speed bumps.
If you're North Korea, that's what you're like. Hey, you can let them all die. It's cool.
That's those people.
I don't have to beat them.
We've got more.
Well, you heard what happened today, right? The Russians had taken that airfield, had taken a major airfield. The Ukrainians took it back today.
I tell you what, man, you got to get, and here, one of the things I think a lot of people don't realize, maybe you guys do, because you're into the deep dive and stuff like I am, but the Russian military and Russian tactics are the same as Soviet Union tactics. There's a lot of veterans in Ukraine that have served in the Soviet army. My son, Hunter, who's been here on this show, his first sergeant was a Ukrainian officer or a Ukrainian soldier in the former Soviet Union military. He's a 30-year vet. He left the Soviet Union when it collapsed as a soldier in the Soviet army, came to America, and to get his U.S. citizenship enlisted in the U.S. Army. And he brought up he goes, all them old guys over there in Ukraine, know every tactic that the Russians use. They know everything they do, everywhere they go, how they act. And he goes, it's like fighting a mirror for those Russians. And so the Ukrainians don't have to have superior firepower or superior in numbers. All they have is superior knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to sneak attack when you know they're coming.
Right? Especially with drones now. I was watching, they were doing some videos. They were taking drones and taking grenades. They were attaching cups to the bottom of the drones. Take a grenade, they'd pull the pin and they'd slide it down into the cup. And then when the drone would get right over the top of somebody, they'd hit some sort of magnetic release and the cup would flip and the grenade would fall out.
You just flip the drone over.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
I have a drone that'll do barrel rolls.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you think about it, you can't see that drone coming. You ain't going to hear that drone coming until it's too late.
Right.
That's like a silent grenade just coming out of nowhere.
Have you noticed that the war in Ukraine is no longer important?
Well, I think it's not important for the media.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it went from this is a huge travesty. Here's how sad it is. Here's all these people that are dying, all these people that are out of a home, all these women that are stranded, blah, 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 blah. And now it doesn't get covered at all.
Emergency broadcast. 3 artillery rounds landed in Kiev. Yeah, now you don't hear anything.
Nothing.
Because it's not going to sell advertising.
It's the same thing with Israel and Palestine.
Yes.
That was the big news ticket. They're still going on.
Yep.
But is anybody talking about it?
Yeah.
No.
Because, and it's that I blame squarely on our news cycle. I still follow everything that happens in Ukraine. You know what just happened yesterday in Ukraine? The Ukrainians have attacked Crimea. They've gone on the counteroffensive.
About time.
So it's and our HIMARS and our artillery that we have sent to them is, what's the best way I could put this? Abso-freaking-lutely obliterating the Russians.
Yeah.
I mean, our artillery over there, because it's so accurate and they are able to reload so quickly. And then the HIMARS, like when you see the Russians and they're in a MLR, they have an MLRS system. And for those who don't know, that's like a truck with a whole bunch of little honeycomb, like the fireworks, the little bees, the block, and all those missiles fly out of it, right? Well, that's what the Russians are like.
So like the little wristlet thing that the Mandalorian has?
Yes. Yeah. So they aim it in a general direction and they know because of the distance away about where it's going to land and how far, right? But they're like the bees in the little firework box, right?
Accuracy by volume.
Yeah, exactly. Accuracy by volume. Bring in the American systems, the HIMARS systems, the high mobility multiple rocket launch systems, which are laser designated and everything else, and you can pinpoint an exact spot on the digital map, and that's where they will land. So you're talking about somebody using a sniper rifle versus somebody using a black powder, not sure where it's going to hit gun. And that's the difference. And so the difference in technology is absolutely making a huge difference. And the Russians are taking incredible losses. And there are a lot of people making the suggestion, look, by the time this is over, the Russians may have lost 20% of their armed service capabilities. 20%, that's huge.
So, me and my rabbit holes, I will send you some.
A libertarian president would not have made a difference, but go ahead.
No, it has nothing to do with libertarian. It has everything to do with geopolitical science on kind of the macro level, and where birth trends and things like that are. You know what Russia's biggest problem is right now? They had a baby bust about 30 years ago. So if they don't make a move now, they won't have the military to do it later because they won't have the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone down some interesting rabbit holes on that.
Surprisingly, we just had a baby boom about 20 years ago.
Yes, we did. That was the millennials.
Yeah.
We had a baby boom 20 years ago. While everybody was at home wondering when the next terrorist attack was going to happen.
Exactly. Really quick, I want to touch on 2 other stories. One Boss Baby sent me. I'm going to read this one first. So when Derek Chauvin was in custody in the sheriff's jail,
the police officer that was convicted of killing and murdering George Floyd. Yeah.
The jail ordered that all African-American officers in the unit be transferred elsewhere. They would not allow any black officers to guard Chauvin. So today, a Ramsey County Board of Commissioners awarded the 8 officers $1.5 million on a settlement. It said here that the correction officers were prohibited from interacting or guarding him, or going anywhere on the floor he was held in what the unit called a segregation order.
Wow. That sounds like the definition of a department that feels like it's
black cops are going to be pissed and kill him.
It's well, I'm not going to trust our black cops. That's the definition of racism. If you ask
Attorneys
me.
for the correctional officers allege that as a result of Leiden's order, all officers of color who were assigned in the areas where Chauvin was held were segregated from the ex-cop and reassigned to other locations in the jail. They sued for violations of the Minnesota Human Rights Act.
I think discrimination was the word you're looking for.
Well, I'm just reading the story off here.
Well, when you think about the definition of racism,
I said African American. I was incorrect. The 8 officers who brought the lawsuit were identified as Black, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, and multiracial.
So
everybody
but white
everybody.
people.
So
if
POCs,
you weren't white, you weren't guarding Chauvin.
people of color, POCs.
All right. I thought I would share that with you guys. The other thing, Paul's going to love this story because Paul's a big Anthony Fauci fan. When I went out to Paul's place, there was a giant poster of Anthony Fauci on the wall with candles.
I have a flag that says "I heart Fauci."
Yeah, head of the fan club.
So last night, Tuesday night, Dr. Anthony Fauci was where? He was at Safeco Field, where the Mariners play.
Seriously?
And before
God,
the
I wish
game,
I didn't know.
before the game, he was awarded the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Award. It's called the Hutch Award. It's normally given to a Major League Baseball player who, quote, best exemplifies the determined spirit of the late Fred Hutchinson, a pitcher and manager who died of cancer in 1964 at age 45. Only 2 people have gotten the award that are not baseball players. One was President Jimmy Carter back in 2016. I think well earned.
Yes.
Because Carter was a lousy president, but did a lot of good things after that. And now Fauci. There were some booze mixed in from the Seattle crowd. He threw up the ceremonial first pitch.
He's wearing a Mariners jersey like he's a Mariners fan or something. I mean,
Service had Fauci autograph a face mask prior to catching the first pitch. That was So I wanted to share that. I don't know. This seems like a Pyrrhic, not
meaning
pirate,
hollow or see-through.
Yeah. This seems like thank you, Paul. This seems like a Pyrrhic award. It just seems like, Fauci's here and let's just kiss ass a little bit.
Well, it is Jay Inslee's state, so
it is. That's you know who else is a big fan of Fauci is Heidi Hot Sauce.
you know who is actually a fan of Fauci and who literally told me is her idol? My mother.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. My Republican threatened to disown me because I voted Democrat in my younger years. My mother.
Dude. Holiday dinners must suck at your house.
I have breaking.
You don't even know.
I have breaking news. Can I get breaking news, please, Dennis?
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, breaking news. This was just sent to me. Tara Simmons has confirmed she will appear again on Outlaw Radio Network on October 23rd.
That's awesome.
Great. She'll be traveling most of the month of September. Her son is just through boot or something with the Marines, so she's got some traveling going on. But Tara Simmons will be, I believe, I'll confirm if it's by studio or not, but she will be on the air with us on October 23rd. Another candidate that Heidi Hot Sauce absolutely adores. So that's good news and outstanding. All right.
Is anybody else getting these?
Yeah, she will be in studio, by the way.
That's great. That's awesome. I want to put a thank you out and thank her for coming into studio. So I keep getting these random text messages. Like, I don't know how my number got out there or something, but like this one, don't become irritated right before bed. Try these strategies to get your wife back. With what I accomplished, you may excel. I'm
what?
Like, yeah, look.
Someone had to have signed you up for that.
I don't know, man.
So I had a friend in Vegas who was a joke signed me up for an automated email that was Luke Bryan facts. And 2 or 3 times a day I'd get a text with some fact about Luke Bryan. I've never thought about changing my phone number so much.
Here's another one I got today. Hi, Paul. I noticed you haven't requested your free strategy session. Go here to claim your.
That one before. That's a small business one because I get that one all the time.
That's why I said I don't know where this.
But I haven't gotten the other one.
Yeah, I don't know where these come from.
That is hilarious.
No, someone signed me up for the DNC texts.
Oh, that's funny.
That's
Yeah.
death
fun.
right there.
I've gotten texts from Nancy Pelosi, AOC, and Joe Biden. I've posted about it on Facebook. I'm like, okay, which one of you guys did this to me?
Yeah.
Payback's coming.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
I need more breaking news. Bleep 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 music. On this day 3 years ago, Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.
Damn straight. Does anybody in this room think that Jeffrey Epstein somehow managed to kill himself in his jail cell?
Glorious.
No.
Yes.
Just that guy.
Just him.
Just the glorious
So
guy.
can I ask you guys, what are your thoughts about Kevin actually believing that Epstein committed suicide? How do you guys? Does it make you like stop and look at him, look at Kevin differently? Are you like,
as long
I just
as
wonder
Maxwell,
if he's really,
as long as Maxwell is still alive, Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.
well, she's in a maximum
Jeffrey
security
Epstein killed
prison,
himself.
and she has her little black book,
Oh,
and has
she's got the,
basically,
she's got the
she
book.
has said, if anything happens to me, this book goes out.
She
So
has.
she's protected.
Yeah, she's protected. He was not. She was the brains.
No.
I'm
just
yes,
telling you.
I don't. He was
Now, if she turns up dead, I'll change my mind on all of it. But no,
I-
he killed himself. Listen, he was a despicable, deplorable human being. He did not want to go to jail because we know what happens to pedophiles in jail.
It
He
is not that
offed
easy.
himself.
And it is not easy to kill yourself by hanging in jail.
No.
If you have a
I
bed
know, a
sheet,
few times
if
I've
you have
been
a
there,
bed
it was
sheet,
really.
you can do it.
It's not tall enough. The ceilings are not tall enough. He
We
was
don't know
not
his facility.
heavy enough. He was not heavy enough. They've shown pictures of his facility, and most places, most jail cells, there's just not enough room for him to actually get enough traction.
And-
he was hanging from the top bunk.
Yeah, and how
from
is
the
it?
top bunk.
You're the
It's
only
just-
guy I know, Kevin, that actually doesn't find it at all odd. The guards weren't on duty and the security cameras were turned
Yeah,
off
there's
for
just
that block,
too
for
many.
that amount of time, and you're like, nah, totally normal.
I think there are questions. Oh, this is kind of like what you said before about being an election denier, right?
Mhm.
I don't deny that there were things that are questionable in that.
That's
But
where
that
I'm
does
at.
not mean I think that somebody killed him. I just don't.
What about the autopsy
I
that
haven't-
Dr. Michael Baden did?
I haven't heard about
And
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
specifically
yeah.
stated that by hanging himself, there's a bone in the neck.
He did say that it can happen from
Oh,
strangulation
yeah.
at the same time too, but he did the same doctor did say the likelihood of him being able to do that from the height and the weight that he was is very unlikely.
But
he
still
was
possible.
it is still
Hyroid, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. The
Yeah, the
hy-
hyroid.
We have
hyaloid.
become
Hyaloid, yeah.
become a country where nothing happens without it being a conspiracy. Everything that happens is a conspiracy. Everything. Presidential elections.
it was a Clinton related issue, of
Vince
course.
Foster.
I think it was more
everything.
than a Clinton related issue. I think it was a related issue of who was in that book. And
I
if
mean-
they ever come out with, if she ever released that book, now that's the one thing that has become the big meme.
You know-
Everything that happens, it's a Clinton thing.
No, you know who I think actually ordered that?
Prince
Galene,
Andrew.
Galene herself, because he was weak and he was gonna spill his guts. She ordered it so that he couldn't rat her out.
I think Bill Gates did it because I like to blame him for everything.
Dude, there's
Oh,
some
I'm
freaky
with you
stuff
on
going
that.
on with Bill Gates too
Oh
over
Lord,
that.
that's a
sir.
whole show right
and
there.
his wife,
All right.
Gates' wife, knows it. That's why
Outlaw
she left him.
Radio. For those of you on AM, have a great week. We'll see you Sunday at 8. For those of you on Facebook, stay there. I'm going to cut some commercials.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
I don't know. It just and you know what? Am I wrong for thinking that she should be a little bit like if she knows, she should be talking. If she knows something, she should be talking.
She should be, but she's lost her leverage now.
No, quite enough.
Yeah, maybe not.
Bill
Yeah,
Gates' wife?
Bill Gates' former wife.
Oh, there's all kinds of theories that was that separation was done on purpose too, to split stocks and just like Bezos.
I don't know, man. She seemed legitimately like she got some hatred for him, and she was talking about the Epstein case.
Yeah, there
Mhm.
was some Epstein issues
Yeah.
that may have.
And
came
she
out
said
because
very
of that.
clearly, she was like, "That was it. That was the end. That was the last straw for me."
That's why I switched to Apple.
Yeah. All right. Dennis, you want to give me those spots?
Are we cutting commercials? You going to have Kevin do them all again?
I think there's 2. You and I can each do one.
Well, I mean, everybody's pointed out that hearing your name 64 commercials in a row isn't cool.
But these commercials don't play on the show. These commercials play during the day.
Okay.
These are...
we should have Jeremy do one.
Sure.
I do it, but it won't be. It'll be more than one take. I'm not a one take. I'm not a one take type of guy.
Listen, you could do each word and pause between them, and Dennis can go through and put them all together.
Oh my God, that'd be so awful. Regardless of how,
you'd sound like Captain Kirk. Hello, young man. How are you?
Did I tell you? I have an autograph. I got an autographed picture of William Shatner at my house.
Seriously?
Yeah, my buddy Joey went to Comic-Con in Seattle.
Yeah, it is in the Shatner
and he was there.
That's awesome.
It is in the Shatner room.
At least I didn't kiss my sister.
All right, you ready for this?
All right, which one are?
I'll do a North Haven Senior Living first.
Good, that's what I picked. Would you do me a favor? Turn that fan off, because in some of the recordings I've been
blowing on it, isn't it?
Getting a little bit of a background hum, and I don't know if it's from that or not.
You hear that? Dennis is getting a Hummer.
I wish.
That's what she said. No, that's what he said.
All right. Ready when you are.
North Haven Senior Living. In 3, 2. Oh, hold on. Trojo's shutting the door. In 3, 2, 1. Regardless of one's age, there is a living heritage, experiences, and memories to share. Show how much you care by remembering elderly family members, friends, or neighbors by helping with chores, shopping, or a simple visit. Learn about life from the most experienced people in the world and make a difference in everyday lives. This message courtesy of our good friends at North Haven Senior Living at 11045 8th Avenue Northeast in Seattle. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
26.
Bam, motherfuckers. Told ya. One take.
All right, and Paul's got the next one.
Yeah,
take it.
That's the best burger.
Best burger. Okay, hold on one sec.
Hold on. What's the over/under on how many takes it takes? What's the over/under?
For me, two takes.
So who's taking the over? I'm taking the over. Anybody else taking the over on 2 takes?
I have confidence in you. You're going to do this one
That's
take.
a beautiful thing. I am going to live off of Jeremy's confidence.
That's ballsy right there.
Ready whenever you are, Dennis.
Heidi says that Trojo's been watching too many CSIs or midget porn.
Oh my God.
That's what Heidi said.
That's brutal.
I think DT stands for Trojo, right?
Ready to go.
Damn Trojo.
Ready?
That's what it stands for.
It stands for what?
DT stands for Damn Trojo, watching too many CSIs and midget porn.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, ready? Best Burgers on 3, 2. Best Burgers at 7714 Custer Road in Lakewood wants to remind drivers that a new school year is upon us.
You gave me 3, 2, and a pause.
Oh, I thought, okay.
If you want to pause after one, that's fine.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. Let me wet my lips.
I can't argue with that.
So this counts as take 2, right?
Get him laughing.
Counts as one because it never recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, Dennis. Best Burgers on 3, 2, 1. Best Burgers at 7714 Custer Road in Lakewood wants to remind drivers that a new school year is upon us. So please, let's be extra.
And sing.
The word, Paul, is extra. Extra. Read all about it.
Take 3. Kevin wins on the over.
All right. Best Burgers on 3, 2, 1. Best Burgers at 7714 Custer Road in Lakewood wants to remind drivers that a new school year is upon us. So please, let's be extra cautious around schools, parks, and school buses. Keeping your youth safe is everyone's responsibility. This message courtesy of our good friends at Best Burgers at 7714 Custer Road in Lakewood. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. For the best food in Lakewood, call 253-472-0736 or come to Best Burgers.
He has to redo it. Because he said keeping your youth safe is everyone's responsibility, and it's keeping our youth safe is everyone's responsibility.
Oh.
You have to redo it. I'm sorry.
But your timing was good.
You know what, fucker?
No,
I don't read over your shoulder to
No,
make
no,
sure
hold
that
on.
you. I know the rules.
You can
you're
read over
right.
my
I'm
shoulder.
not disagreeing with
They
you.
won't pay if one word is off.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I don't want Dennis to lose out on this highly lucrative income.
Maybe you better play that back because that might just be Kevin fucking with us too.
You know your ass crack was on the screen on the show.
Yeah, we don't charge extra for that.
Okay, just check it.
His ass crack was on.
I bent over to pick up the thing, and
oh,
Heidi Hot Sauce was clearly checking out my backside.
And the tits.
Hey,
too.
my eyes are up here, Heidi. They're up here. Go ahead.
talk to my face because my butt ain't listening. Okay.
I'm not,
you
I'm not
guys
a
are
piece
special.
of meat.
All right. Best Burgers on 3, 2, 1. Best Burgers at 7714 Custer Road in Lakewood wants to remind drivers that a new school year is upon us. So please, let's be extra cautious around schools, parks, and school buses. Keeping our youth safe is everyone's responsibility. This message courtesy of our good friends at Best Burgers at 7714 Custer Road in Lakewood. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. For the best food in Lakewood, call 253-472-0736 or come to Best Burgers.
Good to go. 27 seconds.
All right. Dennis, parting shots.
Cooperate for kids.
All right.
Always.
Tom's leaving before parting shots. Boss Baby, you have any parting shots? Boss Baby has parting shots.
Come on, you can do it.
I did.
You did.
But
you lost it.
now I don't remember. I'm really sad.
Wow, that's depressing. I have a closing thought.
Welcome
Yes,
to my life.
go ahead.
It's called ADHD. ADD for the
No,
win.
listen, I get you. Katie has ADHD really bad, and it has taken me a couple of years. I still haven't really. I've had to learn. Can I tell you this? I've had to learn that a wife with ADHD is so different. Like the things that you want as a husband, like not intimacy, but like displays of affection and stuff like that. She's like, I forget.
Yep.
Literally. She'd be like, I was coming to give you a hug and then I forgot. And like she walked off in the middle of it. Yeah, I mean, it's literally like living with a cartoon character. Squirrel. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
With 500 browser tabs open at once.
Yeah.
Oh, we totally got to go here, dude. Look at this.
Yep.
This is, I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's the Pajama Castle. It's the largest cave castle in the world. It's in Slovenia.
Wow. It's in the mouth to a
It's in the mouth of a cave. Yeah, they built it in the mouth of a cave.
Well, it seems pretty safe.
Castle
Right.
Grayskull.
I mean,
They have kill holes. You know what kill holes are?
that's where you can station soldiers that basically they can just shoot arrows through a hole or stab through it with a sword or a
So,
spear. And
in this story, it says kill holes are where they would pull molten rock out the side of it on people below.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
I mean, where that's at, dude, I bet it was never conquered. That castle was never
Wow.
taken, man.
It
Because
looks gorgeous, though.
yeah,
I'd love to go there and visit it.
By the power of Grayskull.
Yeah.
It's
I just
badass.
read an article about that
He-Man.
movie from 1984,
Yeah.
and they were talking about how they screwed it up so bad because the whole point of the He-Man series was that it took place in a magical kingdom, not on Earth, and they're like they totally lost all of that when they set the whole show on Earth, you know. So
Instead of Eternia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eternia.
Yep.
All right, Charjo, parting shots.
On that note, our friends at the Tracy to Movie House are going to be showing that Masters of the Universe movie here. I forget what date it's going to be. I think
Really?
it's going to. They do the classic movie nights, and they actually have it on the schedule to show it. I can't remember what day it is, but real cool place there. If you haven't been there, go check it out. My parting shot was, though, I know we didn't get to talk about this, but if ever there was a subject that I think personally would be great for our national show, Nebraska woman charged with helping daughter have an abortion. I know we was going to talk about that, but man, oh man, oh man.
I had not heard about that until you posted, and I had not got a chance to follow up on it and read about it, but it certainly sounds like something to talk about this Sunday on the show.
Yeah.
All right. Deb, parting shots?
Okay, so this doesn't pertain to Kevin because he thinks I'm weird for watching animated stuff. But if you want to watch a really good He-Man cartoon, the Netflix Masters of the Universe Revelations is amazing.
One. The one that they braid after that sucked, though.
Yeah. She-Ra was horrible, just so you know. All right, that's my party shot.
If you're a grown-ass adult and most of your TV shows you watch are cartoons, you might need to seek professional help.
Well, then I must need to seek professional help because I watch more animated series than I do anything else. That's also why I look younger than you.
Ooh. Oh. Okay.
Not that I'm Asian or anything.
All right, Tom, parting shots.
Just be nice to each other.
Yeah, Debbie.
Wow. I didn't realize I was so on the nose. Yeah, just be nice to each other.
No new liquors coming out at the Black Rings?
Black Ring will be releasing our gin in the next 7 to 10 days.
How long until Liberal Tears and Fake News Whiskey's out?
Liberal Tears will be about 7 to 10 days, and I will do another bottling of Fake News at the same time.
Well, and leave some time open because one of these nights we'll go down and we'll help him. Down whatever he needs help with.
Too.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to do that. I'll before I label this next batch, I'll just bring all the labels in and we'll pass them around.
Just remember, I want to buy one of each.
I did tell the guys down at Brother Don's, they sponsor my softball team.
Yeah.
About you and the work that you're doing here and how you're a sponsor and you're sitting next to me in studio because they enjoy the show. And so they didn't know that you had Black Ring spirits and stuff. So I told them, I said, I'm going to buy a bottle. I'm going to take it over there and give it to them.
Oh, you don't have to do that. Just introduce me and I can get a bottle to them above board, totally free.
No
cool.
wonder.
There's a process.
And speaking of Brother Don's, not to cut you off, Trodo, the 27th of this month, Michael Powers playing Brother Don.
Yes, I saw his name up there on the list.
So, and we will have him on the Wednesday before by phone to help promote it. But I plan on attending. So
awesome. Well, maybe we can get a group of us to go down there.
No wonder you almost had a no-hitter. The people you were pitching to were drunk.
No, I hit.
Yeah, about the Liberal Tears and the liquors that you sell.
Yeah.
Are we able to put? Well, I mean, this would be more of a question for Boss Baby. Are we able to? We can't put those on our web and sell.
No, but you can put a button on the Outlaw website to my website, and we can sell that way.
Good to know.
Yeah, good enough.
So we can advertise it, right? By like, hey, here's the pictures of him.
Yeah.
And
essentially, what he's allowing us to do is be. What's the word I'm looking for, guys? There's a word for it, right? When you have a store online and you're not actually stocking.
It's like a third party.
It's drop shipping. I think is definitely that's definitely one word for it. But
we can ship.
There was a name for it, and I just forget it. But that's okay. Yeah.
Final thoughts, Paul.
Not mine. Paul's gonna go last because I said so.
Unfortunately, I try to get the last word in on Kevin all the time, and I think he wants to avoid that tonight.
We lost a Seattle sports icon this week. Not lost, but she will never suit up again in this city.
Olivia
at least in the regular season. Sue Bird has played her last regular season game. Now the Storm are in the playoffs, so you got a couple more games to watch with her. But if you look over the pantheon of women that have played in the WNBA,
3 decades,
if she's not the GOAT, she is one of the GOATs. She's the nicest person. She's a great teammate. She's unselfish. You've never heard a negative news story about her, negative news press. She is
heard plenty about her wife.
Yeah,
Megan Rapinoe.
But listen, again, I don't want to get into the politics of her wife.
I hear you.
I just think that she is what Seattle deserves as a sports star. And
I totally agree, and I hope she gets that podium kind of spot amongst Seattle sports icons where she belongs.
I think a great conversation for us to have one night just for fun. Maybe Sunday night in the 10 o'clock hour. Who would your four, if you had a Mount Rushmore of Seattle sports, who would your four be? Because I'm having a hard time not putting Sue Bird on there. She's won more titles in this town than any other sports athlete has done.
I think that'd be a toss-up for me between her and Hope Solo.
Well, Hope Solo won We're just on Facebook, right?
Yes, we are.
Hope Solo went batshit crazy though, dude. I mean, she lost her mind.
Well, I mean, when naked pictures got leaked of her on the internet.
Do you have those? Can I get a copy for research?
I want to meet her.
It's real easy to get them.
Her parents?
Hope Solo. Come on, I need to meet her parents.
What were you going to say, Jojo?
Oh my God, I never noticed that.
What I was going to say is, you giving a female sports icon any type of recognition, Kevin, that shows true growth on your part. And perhaps,
good point,
maybe
Jeremy.
one day, because of that, are you ready? It hasn't been brought up yet. One day you're going to actually meet that woman who's going to be the one woman of your life.
I'm going to say this. I have said this for years. In fact, David Nelson, who is the editor-in-chief at the Kitsap Sun, and I used to have this conversation all the time when I worked there. He disagrees with me completely. I think women's basketball is a better, pure, more entertaining form of basketball than the NBA.
Absolutely. That's why I was at the game this past Sunday.
I agree with
you. The NBA is give it to the big guy, let him back down and get a foul, and let him dunk and get a foul and get a dunk. I like the Warriors because Steph Curry's launching up shots from all over the place, but otherwise it's really boring to watch.
Sue Bird was actually drafted in the exact same year LeBron James was drafted.
Sue Bird is the GOAT.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting to know.
So, and then
he does like women athletes. Have you ever heard him talk about Ronda Rousey?
Oh my God, she can beat the shit out of me.
She's a performer, though. She's not really an athlete.
She was an athlete in the MMA.
MMA. She was,
yeah, but that's fake.
What?
What? It's totally fake.
MMA is not fake.
And I guess I should acknowledge Olivia Newton-John passed away.
Breast cancer.
Yeah.
Yep.
She fought it. She fought it for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good fight.
Paul, you get final last. Oh, really quick. You guys think about it. We're going to have that conversation third hour on Sunday. Who's your 4 in the Seattle Mount Rushmore?
Oh, I can do that. I could do that right now.
I know. We'll do it. We'll do it on. I know you'll think about it. You'll change between now and then. You watch. You'll
Maybe.
Oh, I should. Okay,
I like what Boss Baby said. Who's the 4 in the Seattle Mount Rainier?
Oof. That'd be tough because it'd be hard to come up with 4, and then you have to cut some off.
Yeah.
But and do you put Sue Bird up there because she's the top woman athlete, or
no?
Do you just put 4 guys up there
athlete
because they're better, or I don't know, man. I mean, I'd hate to be thought of as a sexist because I left her off, but I don't know. Anyway, final word, last words. I would just advise people with regards to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, just to keep an open mind. Let the facts come out. Try not to prejudge any of it, and let's see what the final bell tolls. So that's about it. I look forward to seeing you guys all on Sunday evening. That's about it.
All right, Outlaw Radio. We'll see you guys tonight at 8:00. Thanks for checking out the show. Thanks to Dennis and Boss Baby for all the background stuff to make the show go on. Thanks for Debbie and Tom for being here on time so I wasn't alone. Thanks for Trojo for being able to get out of that booster seat. And thanks to Paul for being Paul. Good night, everybody.
And Lori.
Oh, and thanks to Lori, who's not here, but still does a whole bunch of stuff behind.
Lori, we did not forget you. It just slipped Kevin's mind.
And thanks to Brittany Griner for